So the big question right now is what happens in 2022 with the real estate market? And I think it's interesting because, we're coming off of 2 years where there was completely unprecedented stuff with the, global pandemic and all that crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to supply and demand. So even though the last 2 years in the real estate market have been absolutely nuts, we still have a shortage of supply and we still have a pretty strong demand. Now, I guess it was last week, the feds came out and said, yes, there's going to be some interest rate hikes at some point in the year. Now, realistically, even if they increase it 0.5%, we're sitting at 3.5, 3.75, somewhere in that range, right? I'm not a lender, so you want to check with them, but even at that rate, that's still insanely low if you look across history and you look at interest rates. So if you're on the fence about buying or selling, now is definitely the time to do it. But realistically, this market should be just fine. Now, the thing that I like the most about living in Atlanta, or North Metro Atlanta, is because I genuinely believe that the future growth for the city of Atlanta and Metro Atlanta is doing nothing but going up. You look at everybody, I do a lot of networking, really all over the country, and when I'm, in California, or whether I'm in Dallas or New York or wherever it is, there's all these people that look at Georgia and see the prices and the cost of living, and they just want to move here. So I believe that Georgia, Texas, Florida, there's these areas where they're going to grow for a long time simply because, especially with Metro Atlanta, we've got a lot of room to grow, and I don't believe that the cost of living will be low forever. It's going to be eventually to the point where Metro Atlanta is not that cheap anymore. But for now, outside looking in, a lot of people are moving here because the cost of living is low. So that just speaks on demand. Right, we've got demand from people who live outside of the city. We got a lot of demand from millennials and people that are just now getting their finances in order, and they've been living at home, working from home, like stuck in their house in their like tiny shoebox apartment for the last 18 months, and they're ready to get some space. They're ready to get a yard, to have their dog be able to run around in. They're ready to get married. They're ready to have kids. So there's demand coming in from all kind of places. And when you look at the simple law of supply and demand, when you've got a shortage of supply and a surplus of demand, price continues to go up, and I think that's what's happening in 2022.